Ghosts in space. Hi, welcome back to Mel's Mini Loft, where I'm just going through my backlog of minis and trying to get through them all as a beginner. As a wonderful gift for my birthday, I was given the Legion of Grief of the Nighthaunts from Age of Sigmar, because for a long time I've been talking about wanting to get into Age of Sigmar, but I was a bit nervous and I'd already known 40k for so long that it just was too big of a leap for me. But as a surprise for my birthday, people got me a lot of different Nighthaunts minis for me to start getting into Age of Sigmar. And I'm really excited now that all of my previous 40k stuff is done to really start diving into putting them together and trying out Age of Sigmar for the first time. And to jumpstart my journey into Age of Sigmar and the Nighthaunts, I'm going to be painting a whole bunch of Revenants. For this unit and a lot of my other Age of Sigmar stuff, I think I'm going to be relying heavily on the airbrush, because with the way that they're modeled, I think it'd be really nice to have a smooth gradient like you see on so many other Nighthaunt units. I also plan to use these Revenants to sort of test out the color scheme that I've been thinking for these, because there were a lot of color schemes that I'd been browsing and thinking about that just didn't spark joy in my heart. The only thing that keeps popping back into my mind is something very like where they blend into the Starlight or something like that, like very like ethereal, but like space ethereal. And I know that doesn't fit at all generally the theme of spooky ghosts, but my heart calls for it. So we're gonna try it out. The plan is to do a gradient from a deep blue to more of a maybe black, or like night blue to maybe slightly less night blue, and to try a cool little star effect. See how it looks. I'm a little nervous that it's not gonna work because it sounds too easy in my head, where I literally just do mostly black and then from the top or from the bottom do like a dark blue and then just use like a brush or something to splatter on some stars. I'm worried that that's just too easy, too good to be true for the effect that I'm hoping I get, but I have to try, because if I can get a cool Starry Night Nighthaunt army, I would be ecstatic. That would be my favorite thing, and I'm so excited to try. To at least try. So let's jump into making some space ghosts. So it's the next day and I finished doing all the airbrushing. Really went great, although I'm worried that the blue that I chose, even though it looked really blue when it came out of the airbrush since it was on a black base coat, it was just looking really dark, and I'm worried that it's too dark. But then I was like, well, let me see what it looks like when I splatter on the stars, and it looks way better. But I still thought I was missing something. Like, it's too much one tone, too dark, not enough variation to make it look eye-catching in any sort of way, to make it stand out from just looking like it was splattered paint all over the place, even though that is what it was. So I had stopped and I was thinking about it, and I was moving on with my day, and then inspiration just struck and I ran back in here. I didn't even have time to turn on my camera, and I was just like, I need to see if this works. I have these Vallejo color shifting metallics, and I was like, what if I like glaze on a layer of the color shifting, and then that way it'll look almost like a nebula or something like that. That was what I was missing. That's gonna make it look so good. Let me show you the one I did. So first I thought, let me test all the different color shifting ones I have and see which ones look good. And I decided on the like blue violet one with a little bit of the green shift one on the outsides to make it look like it's like a nebulous color, because there were some that, for example, the pink and purple ones, it's so dark and so glazed that you don't actually see the pink come out, and it just looks like whatever color shift it is, which is the same as all the others. So I just use like the pearlescent ones. It looks so much better that way. I'm so excited to keep going. My only thing is do I want to do the whole bottom wispy parts with that and then do a couple spot nebulas on top, or do I do the whole thing? I'm still debating that. I don't want to overdo it, obviously, and I feel like if I do everything with it, it'll be way overdone. So we're just gonna experiment and see how it goes. These guys are like my tester, you know? And either way, they're gonna look really cool on the board, so I'm not too worried if it's not perfectly the way I wanted, because I'm gonna refine it on these guys, and then when I do someone big, like Lady Oleander, I think is her name, it'll come out perfect. And then I'm gonna do the swords and their masks a silver irony color and not worry too much about it, and I think they'll be done. But for now, I'm gonna keep playing around with these color shifting metallics because they just look so pretty and I'm so excited. So let's keep going. It's all coming together, and oh my gosh, these are looking so cool. They're just like how the vision in my head had them being. It took a lot of experimentation to get there, but the results, yes, this is what I wanted. I wanted my ethereal Starlight space ghost so bad, and it's happening. Let me show you. Let me show you. So this is one that I finished fully just to see what it would look like, except for the base, of course, and I think it's a good spot to be, and I can't wait to get the rest of them done. First, when it was just the Starlight and I wanted to try the color shifting frustrating. Doing it by like individually with my brush just wasn't doing the right effect. So then I thought maybe dry brushing, and the dry brushing was perfect. It put just enough of this light iridescent sheen to make it look very nebulous without doing a lot of really detailed nebula work. I ended up looking up a whole bunch of tutorials to see how people did it. For something so small as these guys, doing like really fine detailed airbrush work, with which I'm also really struggling with for detail stuff. I can do big sweeping airbrush movements, but like the tiny light airbrush details, I'm too nervous to really get into. So doing this sort of dry brushed iridescent sheen gives that perfect look with the stars that I was going for, and I love it. And then at the bottom I had the black because I put the deep blue on the top, and it was just too one-dimensional, like not enough color. So then I remember you guys were telling me in my slab chop video how nicely the speed paints look through an airbrush, and I was like, you know, maybe this is the way to do it so that it looks really transparent and blends really seamlessly into the deep blue and the stars. Oh, it came out so good. I do think I probably didn't need to do so many different airbrushing steps. I tried doing like a deep purple and then working my way up to like a fuchsia to do, you know, like a nebulous purplish color at the bottom. And honestly, you couldn't really see the deep purple on the black because obviously it's a speed paint, and you're gonna see mostly the undercolor, or the color that you have underneath. So once I put in just this faint grayish pink at the very bottom to have a base for it to stand out on, then doing the fuchsia after that, it's great. And I'm so excited now. They look so good. All that's really left now that I've done their hands too, it's just finishing up the chains and then the basing. Now for basing, a really good friend of mine, he actually has his own YouTube channel. You should totally check him out. He's called No Paint No Gains. He said that what would look really cool as the base is to make them look like they're coming out of like a galaxy or galactic portal at the bottom. And I was like, this would be so cool, but also I don't even know where to start. He said it should be a lot of stippling and wet blending. That's probably what I'm gonna end up doing. I'm gonna try and do that and see how it goes. If not, I can just paint it all black and forget about it. We're at the final stretch. I definitely think I can finish it today. Let's finish today. My Bladegheist Revenants are done, and they look so spooky, starlit, ethereal, and I love them so much. I feel like I really had to dig a bit into my own creative headspace for this idea, because everywhere I looked to try and look online for space ghosts or star ghosts or something like that, I'd always just get space ghosts, and I just couldn't find what I was looking for. But I think it came out just as I was envisioning it in my head, and I'm so happy with them. Of course, there's a few things that I would probably do a little bit different moving forward. Some of the stars that I splattered on got too thick because I put too much paint on the brush when I started it, and I tried fixing it with making them look more like shining stars, and it doesn't look good. So I just have to be a little bit more careful with that. I also think the color of their arms, like their skin, I put a wash on it to give it more dimension, but I don't like them at all. But I think what I really want to work on next in terms of colors and how to work with them is doing a good like undercoat, a richer blue. I don't know the color, but I have the color in my head, but doing that as maybe like an undertone, and then this light green blue on top of that to give it just a bit more of a richer color, because it feels too pale, and then with the dark wash it just looks muddy instead of ghosty. if that makes sense. So I would definitely change that. I will 100% be doing the bases completely separate before I glue them on with the rest of my units, because while I love the sort of galactic coloring that I did with them, it was really, really hard to do after my minis were painted and glued on here. And that's just my usual routine with building these is I piece them together and I glue them on the base so that way I have something to hold on to. I of course see people all over the internet sort of using like this clay tack or something like that and then putting it on like a separate handle. I can probably start trying to get into something like that. I'll have to look up how they do that specifically, but there's just no way I can do a really nice galaxy looking base if I have them already glued on there, and especially if I have them glued on there and already painted. That was a bit of a oops. And also, one last thing that I'm questioning, I'm not sure what to do about. Some of these units have like tombstones and things like that they're floating over, and I feel like that just doesn't fit the look that I was going for, so I left them sort of blended in with the rest of the colors of their capes or their misty parts, I guess, so that it blends in and you can't really tell. I could always maybe come back and make it like a really, really dark gray, but I feel like it just doesn't quite match, and leaving them blending in makes it look like they don't have it, especially from afar, but we'll just keep it there for now. Other than that, I'm so happy with how the stars came out, with how the iridescent sheen of my color shifting dry brushing came out. It looks so good. And then using the speed paints through the airbrush to make it look like this really transparent gradient from like that purple fuchsia to the blue is just, I love it, and I'm so excited to keep painting more like this. Like, I'm looking at the box and just going, oh, I think I might do this and I might do that. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video and my process. To keep following along with this and other things that I paint, please subscribe to my channel and give this video a thumbs up. I will see you guys on the next one. Bye!